Andrea, you were fortunate enough to play Mortal Kombat X at GDC, and from my brief conversation with you, it sounds like you're pretty excited about it.
I'm very excited for it. I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan, and Mortal Kombat 2 is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. And I was super excited when they originally announced Mortal Kombat X, and it looks fantastic.
Now, before we kind of get into the thick of what you saw with Mortal Kombat X, can I ask what it is about Mortal Kombat that had you so in love with it?
I think it is the interesting character set and the lore. I've never really been a big fighting game person, but I think I spent so much time playing it in arcades as a kid that I just kind of like had this, I don't know, draw to it in a way that I can't really explain, because generally I'm not a big fan of gore in games, which is really weird because Mortal Kombat is one of the goriest games of all time in the video games universe. But there's just certain characters that I really love, and I feel as a female gamer, they have a lot of really badass female characters that I think are really cool. And I don't know, it has that little je ne sais quoi that I can't quite put my finger on.
Sure. And kind of talking about the lore, I feel like the story of Mortal Kombat is always ridiculous. You know, you have these different realms fighting against each other, but Mortal Kombat 9, what I was very impressed with, is the story mode was great. It was ridiculous and goofy in places, but it was fun and it was coherent and actually pulled you along in a way that I feel like other fighting games don't even come close to. And from what you were telling me, they're going even further with that in Mortal Kombat X.
Yes, so we got to play the first section of story mode at this demo event where they revealed that Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade are going to be playable in the game. So not only are they playable in story mode, but you'll be able to use them in multiplayer as well. The Cage family reunion, as it were. We already knew that Cassie Cage was going to be in the game, so it kind of makes sense that we were going to see Sonya and Johnny. And the game kind of starts out with Johnny Cage, the first part of the story. Now, I don't want to get into too many story spoilers, but essentially the Warriors of Earth have to come together with Raiden and some of the other Elder Gods to help fight Shinnok, who has escaped from the Netherrealm and is trying to conquer Earthrealm. There's an amulet involved, and there's all kinds of other demons and ninjas that are involved, but I don't want to get too much into it, but I will say, if you are interested in Mortal Kombat and you don't know too much about the lore, there was a really good narrative cutscene at the very beginning of story mode that lays everything out for you. So if you don't know all of the intricacies, because how could you? Even me as a fan, I don't know, because there's been so many iterations of Mortal Kombat, and the lore is pretty deep. It kind of lays it out in layman's terms for you to understand, so you can really enjoy the story mode. So let's talk a little bit about gameplay in story mode. One of the things that they're introducing this time around in Mortal Kombat X is interactive elements. And so immediately you think QuickTime events, and yes, that is what they are, but there are no fail QuickTime events, meaning like if you don't hit the button timing exactly right, like you're booted back and you have to reload, you die, you start over. That doesn't exist in Mortal Kombat, thankfully. I hate those things.
Yeah, it's something that always really frustrates me when you're watching a cutscene and you're trying to get immersed into this world, and all of a sudden a QuickTime appears unexpectedly, you fail, and it pulls you right out of the scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the worst.
So that doesn't happen here. Instead, for example, I was fighting Scorpion and I failed one of the QuickTime events, and instead of failing out, he doused me with acid and then the scene moved on. So what the producing team told me is that these interactive elements will help you choose your path to how the story goes further on in the story mode. Now, I didn't get to see any real examples of how narratively that could potentially change, but of course, they only showed us a little snippet of it. But I will say that I was really impressed by how smoothly the cutscenes, the QuickTime events, and the fight scenes all flew together. So really, like you're watching a cutscene, and then the interactive element happens with the QuickTime event, and then you're watching another cutscene, and then bam, they drop you into a fight. You do like a single round in that fight, and then you're right back into the narrative cutscenes again. And I just thought it was a really cinematic experience, something that you don't traditionally get from a fighting game. I mean, cutscenes in fighting games, are lacking for lack of a better word. I don't know the word I'm trying to use to describe it, but I mean, people don't play fighting games to watch cutscenes, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a big fighting game player myself, I still get pretty bummed out that the model is often, okay, you're going to have a little anime cutscene at the beginning and a little anime cutscene at the end, and that for so many games and for so many series, we haven't evolved past that, 20-year-old arcade model. So it's cool to see that they're expanding upon that with Mortal Kombat X. I know in MK9, the transitions from cutscenes to fights were also really well done. But I have to ask, I feel like based on the nature of Mortal Kombat, and violence being one of the chief things about that series, I would almost want to fail the cutscenes to see how badly people get messed up.
I didn't think about it that way, but that's a fair point.
Yeah, I think I would just let those things play out because I want to see Johnny Cage get splashed with acid.
Well, then you should just fail all of your QuickTime events.
The one final thing I want to talk about, something that's new to Mortal Kombat X, is all of the fighters have 3 different variations to them that change how they play. How much did that affect the gameplay for you? Was it difficult to get used to?
Well, I haven't gotten enough time to really practice with all the different variants, and in story mode in particular, they choose the variant for you depending on where you're at in that particular story. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so you don't get to choose which variant you want in your fight. It's already pre-selected depending on, what's happening narratively at that time, which I thought was an interesting choice. But quite frankly, I'm fine with that. I think that when you're not going to really know which variants are best until you've played with all of them for a little while to see, which of your favorite characters has a variant that suits your playstyle the best. But I really like that they're adding that diversity. I mean, they're also adding other unique things to the online experience with Faction Wars. So Faction Wars are this kind of persistent metagame. When you start Mortal Kombat X, you're going to be prompted to choose one of 5 factions. And once you choose your faction, you will rank in that faction, and your faction will rank against the other factions. And if your faction is on top, you can unlock custom rewards like faction kills, meaning you can get custom fatalities and hopefully other kinds of alities, babalities, brutalities. They haven't gone into exactly what those rewards are outside of like custom kills. And I think that that's a really cool way to kind of motivate people to continue playing. They're also going to have these challenge towers, similar to something that we saw in the previous Mortal Kombat, but they're taking it even further. Sometimes they're going to be updating these challenges every hour. So you have to go in and check and see what challenge is happening right now, what kinds of unique rewards can I earn. They're really doubling down on the online community and trying to foster that sense of working together as a team to take on other factions, which I thought was really cool.
I think that's great because I feel like for many people, once you sort of mess around with the characters and maybe play through arcade mode or story mode or whatever is available, if you don't have the chops or the time to be really good online, you're kind of done with that fighting game. And I feel like with Faction Wars and the Challenge Tower, this gives you so much more to do to get involved in, even if you don't want to necessarily duke it out one-on-one online.
Absolutely. I mean, and they're also bringing in the Mortal Kombat mobile game. NetherRealm also made Injustice, which hopefully you've checked out. Really great game. That also had a mobile game tied to the main console game, and you used your WB ID to connect yourself, and then you earned cross-platform rewards. That's returning with Mortal Kombat. So you can download the free-to-play mobile game and play when you're on the go and earn coins that you can use to unlock rewards in the console game and vice versa, which I thought was really cool. And I played a Mortal Kombat port on iPad way back when. It was like Mortal Kombat 3. I don't know if you ever played that. It was actually for iPhone. And it was okay. I mean, it looked a little janky, but this mobile game looks fantastic. Did you play the Injustice mobile game?
No, I heard about it, but I didn't actually play it myself.
So NetherRealm did a really great job with it. I mean, you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. It is swipe mechanics because you're using a touch screen. You don't have all the inputs that you do with a controller, or keyboard and mouse. But
Right.
I thought that it looked really great, and I thought that it was really interesting how you can grind in that game to unlock stuff in the console version and vice versa. And it happens like instantaneously. So just another way to allow fans who are looking for more ways to play. As you mentioned, like you're done with the story mode, you don't really want to do PvP. That's a great way to keep playing.
Definitely. I'm always skeptical when the words mobile and fighting games come together, but it sounds like they're taking a different approach, which is cool. Well, thank you, Andrea, so much for talking to us about Mortal Kombat X. It sounds really exciting. I'm very curious to see where the story goes, and I'm happy that it's not that far away.
I know, April 14th, it's almost here.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's going to be a good couple of months for video games.
Yeah, definitely. Have to clear the schedule.
Yes, yes. All right, thanks again, Andrea.